way, but this year you're able to bring Martinez Rankin because of the depth you have and kind of bring him along at his own pace. Talk about that transition from Martinez.
Well, I think it certainly helps him in a lot of ways, and it helps the program as a whole, in that he's allowed to develop and get on the field at the time he's ready. We're not forced to throw him out there day one with the ones repping. Now I mean we have pretty high expectations for him, and I think he's going to have a very good career here for us. I think he's going to end up. He has a great work ethic, a great attitude in how he comes. He's very wants to be a good player. And that's, to me, what is really, really important. So I think he's going to have a good career for us. But the fact that we have been able to build depth doesn't force us into putting him into positions he's not ready to go do right now. And I think it really helps with his development and also his confidence in being a player.
Coach, other than no injuries, what are some things you hope to see by the end of training camp?
Well, I mean, I want to see guys to get depth. There's a lot of guys, as I've said, guys that have played a lot of game reps. I have a good feel for what they're going to do and what they can do, and hopefully they're going to do it even better than they've ever done it before. Our big goal at training camp is to create and find the depth. Who are guys that maybe don't have a lot of game reps, that have earned the right and put themselves in a position to go get those reps come opening game this season. And that's to me going to be one of our biggest things. One of the things I know we talk about with last year's all those seniors that graduated and have gone on. We lost a lot of good players, but we still have a lot of star power, I guess, on the team. We lost more than anything depth, and that to me is what we need to make sure these young guys, and not that we don't have depth now. We lost experience depth, where now. Our young guys, we have depth. You go watch us. We got a bunch. We got 4 groups can go at practice, 4 deep. But you get into there's guys that are going in the second group that have never stepped foot on their field in a game before, and that's the depth we need to create to have them game ready to go play for the opening kickoff.
You mentioned you had 4 guys at running back that you could pretty much turn to at any moment. Would you rather have 4 guys like that, or one guy that really stands out and stands alone as your number
I'd
one
have
guy?
4 that always stand out. They'll bring a little something different to the table. And there's 2 of them that have never played the game, so we got to see how they're going to respond. When the lights come on, it's a little guys respond differently. And not that I really believe in guys that say, "Hey, I'm a gamer. I don't like those guys. I want guys that work hard every day." But to me, it can go the other way with guys that when those lights come on, they're not quite ready for that situation yet. And we got the young guys. We'll see. They've impressed in practice over the last year and a half, really year and a couple weeks that they've been practicing with us. But we want to see when the lights come on how they perform on game day.
Obviously, their head's not spinning like a true freshman that just got here, but guys like Malik Deary and Deja Thomas, how much have you seen from the carryover to spring to now?
Well, I see a bunch. They don't act like as much like freshmen. They know our expectations of them are going to be a little higher than the freshmen. I think that opportunity to graduate early and come in, you can see the confidence level of those guys is very, very different from the freshmen. This is their second time going through the installation. This is their second time learning the offense. And you can see the first time, it's like walking in, you've passed Algebra 1 maybe in high school, and then you walk into an advanced calculus class taught in Chinese. And, so sometimes it's like, I always laugh. We laugh. The freshmen sometimes, you sit in a meeting and sometimes you're talking and, they're hearing like the Charlie Brown, like, wah, 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 wah. Because they don't even understand the language you're speaking sometimes and trying to learn it. Now, those guys have been through that once, realized, holy cow, and now they're hearing it all for a second time. So now, everything that you're talking about, there's familiarity with it. And I think that leads to them to have a lot of confidence, and it will give them the best opportunities to get on the field to play as freshmen.
I think a few years ago at Signing Day, you felt like Kendrick Market was one of the best players in the state of Mississippi. And a lot of other schools passed over him, and he's had a pretty good career. What have you seen from him in the last 3 or 4 years at safety?
Well, I mean, he's a guy, you see what happened to us when he got hurt in the last 2 games of the season, how much that hurt our defense. Because he's a guy that does it right all the time. You know, I mean, he's one of those players that you're going to sit out there on the field and say, boy, he's not real tall, not real big, he's not real fast, but how does he make all those plays? And the key is he's just a great football player, you know, and coming out of South Panola High School, I mean, meeting with Lance Pope, I mean, that's what he would say. I mean, he was one of the best football players on our team his senior year. He was the guy that was the football player that made it all happen for us. And there might have been more talented players, but he was the best football player. And to me, that is, those are the guys you want, especially the safety. I mean, how he directs it. You can see the difference right now already now between where we were in spring on the back end of how everybody is gelled together, how everybody's in the right spot. And a lot of that is him getting everybody where they be and him being there and kind of all them rallying around him as the guy that everyone has to play to his standard and his level in the back end.
You talked about in media days about Manny Diaz and things, and about how he had kind of progressed as a coach and things in the years since y'all been apart. Can you talk about how, if anything's different this go around with Manny as opposed to last time?
Well, I think he's just more, you know, he's grown as a coach, not more mature is the situation. But, you know, I think the last time, you know, he's a young coach, his first opportunity to be a coordinator, you know, at a BCS conference. And, you know, you want to go. And really just show what you got. You know, what you see differently now, he knows what needs to get done and has been through it a couple times right now. And so it's not as much a panic to impress on day one. It's how are we making sure we develop our team so we're ready to go win football games in the fall. And I think that just comes with any coach. I imagine I'm the same way right now, you know, where I was probably in my first year or two a raving maniac during camp. You know, and now of understanding the big picture of things and looking at everything of how can we do it better? How are we going to make our team better? We better football team, better players, better position group. How are we teaching better, learning better? All of those things. And I think when you're not maybe in that sense of urgency that I have to, you know, impress today or this is my one opportunity, you have a little bit more experience. You're more comfortable in that situation.
Dan, thank you. Can you just talk about the transition that Jamal Graham had to make from going offense to defense, and what goes into that kind of transition?
Well, I think that, you know, one, I think you got to have some confidence, a little bit of ego and swagger to play corner. And so that was easy transition. He had no problem with any of that. You know, I mean, talking trash, he had no, I mean, all of that, he didn't need any bit of transition for that aspect of it all. But I think it is. I mean, it's just learning a new position. Now, the benefit he had, he played both sides of the ball in high school, so it's not like he'd never played defense before in his life. He played defense, so he had a little bit of a foundation on being in that side of the ball and doing that before. But, you know, it's also that desire to want to get on the field and go play. And I thought, you know, he was a guy, it's always better when you look and say, hey, the guys kind of come to you and really want to do it. They want that opportunity. And you know, when you have a discussion with them, again, a mature discussion, it wasn't, we had to talk him into going to defense or any of that. Laid it out, and he said, that's the opportunity I want. I want to go to defense. And so I think that makes the transition a lot easier for the players.
What do you see as the biggest challenge this year as opposed to other years, this year in camp?
In camp, I don't know. You know, every year is challenging. To me, always the biggest challenge is get this team to come together as a team. You know, because we only have 1 year in the lifespan of a team. It's a very, very different team than last year's team. And this year's team will be very, very different than next year's team. It's just that 1 year, and what you have to do is find the guys that are in this program right now. 105 guys are here at training camp, and have them all meld and gel together as a team to go and work together to accomplish team goals. Set aside all your individual desires and work as a team for us all to get better and perform at a high level. And that's always the challenge at training camp, and always the challenge in building with every single team that you have. And we'll continually work at that.
Coach, in terms of the running backs, what are you looking for out of that group specifically to show that they're separating themselves and are ready to kind of replace that production that Josh had last year?
Well, you know, the biggest one to be is doing things the right way. it's one thing, we recruited them to run the football, okay? So, but we'll run, even if we're 50-50, we like to be balanced. You know, that's about 40 running plays a game and 40 passing plays a game. If we can get 80 plays in a game, which is hard to do, might be 35-35. You know, Dak will probably take 5 to 10 of those runs, so there's 25 runs for running backs of the 75 plays. What are you doing on the other 50 plays? That's what separates people. You know, all of them, they got scholarships here because when they have the ball in their hand, they can do something special with it. But it's what do you do on those other 50 plays are really what separates you and what makes you ready to play and get on the field.
Having worked with a lot of quarterbacks that went on to the senior season, looking at the NFL draft, how has Dak handled both the evaluation he got last year of his individual skills but still preparing to play a senior season?
Well, I think the one thing is a guy like Dak, and what's going to make him successful is he's focusing on becoming the best quarterback that he can be. Not worried about his senior season or the NFL draft or any of that. And there's a maturity that comes in that because you know what? This time next year, he better be worried about being the best quarterback he can be, not I'm a rookie or one of those situations. And once you grasp that maturity of being a quarterback, so he has to be the best player he can be, and to do that, he has to lead us the best way possible. He's the guy out there on the team. He has to manage the offense to me, which means distribute the ball to who needs to get us in the right plays, lead us, keep us at highs. If we're not doing well, pick the team up. If we're doing well, try to keep us at that high level. All of the different things, whether it's the leadership, the mental, physical toughness, the decision-making, the intelligence, all the things that go into the quarterback position, he has to constantly work on to make himself the best, and so that he can be. And so when he's working on that stuff, it really, as a guy that he understands, that it's not relevant whether it's his senior year to me or his second year. It's how can he maximize himself right now. Now, this being his last opportunity, the fact of just being a senior on the football team is very different than being a senior quarterback and worrying about his future in other ways. And you know, I'm excited. I think in my career, my entire career, he's the first fifth-year quarterback I've ever had that I've had for 5 years. You know, I mean, even the guys that have gone out, Alex Smith went out to the NFL early. I didn't have Tim his last year. I had him for his first 3 years, and the Heisman and 2 national titles in those 3 years of having him. I had Chris Leak for a national championship, but only for the 2 seasons. Even though it was his senior year, I didn't have him for all of those. So actually, I'm sorry, I had Tyler in his 5th year too. So it's 2 in a row. That's pretty big time. Right? Hard to stay somewhere long enough to have those type of guys. So Tyler and Dak are that way. And so to me, it is a little bit different because, you know, you do have such high expectations from them. You expect them to be so far advanced from anyone else. And those guys have kind of done that. You know, they've really done that for me throughout their career.
Back to the running backs, you have 4 guys that you can really rely on this year, a little bit different. Was Shumpert and Octavian and Aries too able to take a little bit of a beating, I guess, for lack of a better word? Does that take some carries away from Dak? Do you have that luxury, or do you want him to be able to shoulder that load?
Well, I hope they don't. I hope they deliver a beating more than take a beating at the running back position because they're big, and when they hit you, they kind of hopefully they're giving more than they're taking in there. But I think it's certainly that opportunity. You know, I think you look with Dak. I don't know that will cut way down on quarterback runs. To me, it comes into hopefully, you know, some of the ones of Dak not having to make as many plays, scrambling, or those big plays, and the quarterback being the decision-making, just taking what the defense gives us. You know, and sometimes it's hard for younger players. They think, boy, I mean, if I just throw this check down, that's like a 2-yard pass play right there. Aren't I better trying to go run around and make something happen on my own? And that's what we really want to see out of Dak. But, I mean, if those guys are pounding away at people, we're going to keep giving them the ball.